Hello and welcome to the Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire spoiler discussion video. If you haven't seen the movie yet, but you still want to hear my thoughts on it, there's a spoiler-free review that's out right now on my channel. I put it out this past Wednesday, so go and give that a watch if you don't want to get spoiled and you haven't seen the movie yet. If you have seen the movie, or you haven't but you really don't care, then let's get right into it. So the film starts out with a really interesting chase scene between Kong and these wolf-like creatures. I really like that they showcased the fact that Kong is this experienced hunter. He's able to set up traps and outsmart these animals. This makes him appear almost human-like, and it makes the audience want to root for him more. And also, it shows that he's been on Hollow Earth for a long time now, specifically 3 years in universe. My only real gripe with Hollow Earth is that there aren't many dinosaurs. I know this sounds weird, but I've always associated King Kong with dinosaurs, and I wish that there were some more prehistoric life down in Hollow Earth that we, the audience, could see. I would love to see this take on King Kong battle some type of dinosaur, or at least a prehistoric beast, because for the most part, we've really only been getting these very generic giant wolves, or giant pterodactyl things, or vultures, or warbats, and it just makes me wish that we could see other stuff besides that. After this, we see Godzilla battle the giant spider from Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is pronounced like Skyla or whatever, I don't know how to say it. I'm really happy though that we got to see this monster again. I remember seeing it kind of sort of showcased in King of the Monsters, and I wanted to see more of it at the time. I loved the way it blends this Lovecrafty type tentacle monster face with a spider and arachnid. It looks really awesome. One thing that I do love about Adam Wingard is how he's able to showcase these monsters in broad daylight, which is something that we haven't really gotten yet in the MonsterVerse, because before Godzilla vs. Kong, there was kind of this stereotype of MonsterVerse movies that all the fights were in the rain or at night and you couldn't really see anything. Here, it's in broad daylight, and you get to see every part of the action. The imagery of Godzilla resting in the Colosseum in Rome is really awesome. If you've seen my review of Godzilla vs. Kong, then you would know that I wasn't a big fan of Adam Wingard's direction in regard to scale. Godzilla vs. Kong is very much lacking in scale and showcasing how big these monsters really are, at times feeling just like a CGI fest. But in this movie, Godzilla x Kong, we get a lot more wide shots, showcasing the monster's size and scale compared to humans and human architecture. But this does get a bit muddled when we get to Hollow Earth. I do think though that when they're up on the surface, it works really well. Godzilla ends up leaving Rome and heads towards the Arctic, where he battles a monster named Tiamat. Before this fight, we very briefly see on a computer screen that this monster is classified as dangerous or destructive, which I really like. It reminds me a lot of SCP and how they classify certain creatures as being dangerous or passive, and that little element of world building really helps to make everything feel more cohesive, because of course Monarch would classify monsters based on their threat level, but seeing that on screen is just really neat. Tiamat, however, is a very disappointing monster because, let's be honest here, this is Manda. It's a giant serpent that lives in the Arctic. Where have I seen this before? I really wish that Toho would just let Legendary use as many original legacy Toho monsters as they wanted to. I know a lot of this has to do with rights issues and the fact that they have to pay per monster or whatever it is, but I would just love it if they would go all out and have Kamanga at the start of this movie and have Manda appear instead of Tiamat. I'm honestly waiting for a fan edit to come out where they just take Tiamat and color it green like Manda and then like overdub it so people say Manda, because it's virtually the exact same monster. They look identical. The fight scene with Tiamat is also really boring because it ends so quickly and the monster's death is off screen, which is really lame. We're also introduced to Suko, who is supposed to be sort of Kong's son, or son of Kong, or whatever, but I don't know, he's not his actual son, but it's what's being implied. I'm kind of annoyed by this trend where we have little baby versions of iconic characters. Obviously, we've seen Son of Kong before, and we've seen Baby Godzilla before. That's nothing new in the realm of kaiju movies, and even then, we've had like Baby Mario and Baby Muppets, but I've just been really annoyed with this new trend of like Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian and the Baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Men in Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's just so cynical and jaded to me because I know it's only there to sell plushies and to sell toys to kids. So seeing Kong bash Suko across other gorillas in battle was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I was just laughing my ass off hysterically because it's the funniest thing ever. They show so many shots of Suko being all cute, and then just seeing Kong just whip him around was the funniest thing ever. It almost seemed like the filmmakers were in on the fact that people can't really stand these specific types of characters. The whole subplot with the Iwi Temple was very boring, but at the same time, it reminded me a lot of the Jun Fukuda era Godzilla movies. It really felt like it was ripped right out of Godzilla vs. Megalon. Part of me was wondering, honestly, if they're setting up Space Godzilla because of all the crystals that they showcased throughout the film. That might just be me being stupid, but I don't know, crystals play a really big part in Space Godzilla's existence. I just couldn't help but wonder if that's kind of what they're leading towards as the next big bad. On top of that, I also felt like Trapper was sort of inadvertently setting up Jet Jaguar, or a mech of sorts, that we will see later on, with Project Powerhouse sort of being the beginning of that. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the next movie featured Jet Jaguar and Space Godzilla. I mean, imagine how cool it would be to see Jet Jaguar, Kong, and Godzilla fighting side by side. That would be incredible. This movie is expected to make a ton of money, and right now I'm pretty sure it made back all of its money at the box office, or at least just the budget. So who knows? I'm fairly certain we're getting another movie. I think it's neat that Mothra came back. I was honestly expecting Mothra to come back, like that was sort of what she does. She's always dying and then getting resurrected, so this made total sense to me. I just wish that she did more during the battle. Not to mention, the Twin Fairies are absent, even though they were sort of set up in King of the Monsters. I would have liked to have seen the Twin Fairies involved with the Iwi Temple. Instead of just having it be one priestess, they did two, and they were both twins. I think that could have been really neat. Could have just been an offhanded, reference, but I don't know. I think Mothra should always be accompanied by the twins, the Twin Fairies, and she wasn't here, and that was kind of disappointing. I thought that Skar King was a really cool villain. I loved that red and white color scheme, as well as the bone whip that he had. He was somewhat intimidating, but at times it just felt like I was watching a Planet of the Apes movies, especially with the scenes of him and Kong interacting in Hollow Earth. The scale is just non-existent. So as a result, it's just Planet of the Apes. Like, that's all I'm really seeing here. He also just didn't feel as big as, say, King Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla. Like, it just felt like it was a nobody. I know that I keep saying this, but having a legacy monster here would have taken the film farther. He just doesn't feel like a substantial villain. Maybe taking Shimo and making Shimo a different monster could have also helped, because Shimo was very disappointing. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the design, if I'm being completely honest. The CGI was really rough, and the glossy skin texture made it seem really fake. I don't know how they could have improved this. Part of me was like, yeah, let's get a legacy monster in here, pair him up with Skar King. That way Godzilla can have a monster to fight that's from his own lore, and King Kong doesn't really have a monster like that, so maybe Skar King could be that monster, but I don't know. Maybe make it Anguirus or Baragon and get rid of the freezing abilities, and maybe make it Heat. I'm not sure, but Shimo just didn't work for me and was kind of forgettable. The final battle was pretty cool. I liked how they killed off Skar King. It reminded me a lot of the Sub-Zero fatality from Mortal Kombat.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins.
It did feel underwhelming at points. The battle, I mean. I wish there were more dynamics to the fight. I wish there were more moments of, oh my god, they're about to lose, and then, oh, this happens, and this happens. Like, for example, when the crystal gets loose, and they're sort of fighting for it, that was nice. That's what I wanted more of. Instead, it was just like taking two action figures and just... Like, yeah, it's cool and it's fun and all, but I don't know. I just wish that there was more substance to it. It just got boring after a while, and it overstayed its welcome. Now, this isn't me complaining that the movie isn't serious. I love the goofy tone. The problem is that it just got old after a while. I'm really excited to see where the MonsterVerse goes next. Like I said, it's very likely that we'll get another movie since this one performed really well at the box office as of me recording this video. I'm fairly certain it made back its budget during its opening weekend alone, but I am just getting kinda sick of Godzilla and King Kong teaming up. I wish they would just make more solo movies or even just more movies in general to flesh out the world a bit. Make a Rodan solo movie, make a Mothra solo movie, or even just take an original monster and sort of base something around that. Just do something to flesh out the world beyond just Godzilla and King Kong. But either way, I enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was pretty fun in spite of some of the issues I had with it. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. What was your favorite fight between all the monsters? Me personally, I think my favorite fight had to be Godzilla and King Kong fighting in Egypt. The dynamics of that was fantastic. I love how Kong was just pummeling Godzilla with his power fist thing. That was so funny. I love when Kong used pocket sand and threw that at Godzilla.
Pocket sand!
It was just so much fun. So let me know what your favorite fight was down below in the comments. And with all of that out of the way, I'm Cole McCormick. You're watching Firewood Media. Consider becoming a member to support the channel. For just $1.99 a month, you'll receive member shoutouts and your name featured as an executive producer in all of our film projects. There's also going to be members-only videos as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes content that you won't find anywhere else. Look, you don't have to if you don't want to. It's just an extra perk for anyone that wants to support the channel while also getting to see some unique content. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.